Excellent. Thanks
Hey,
a
Alan.
lot, Ben. So my name's Alan Quayle. I'm the founder of Tadhack. We have Tadhack Mini Orlando coming up in less than 2 weeks. Really excited about all the registrations, the amazing support we're getting from Orlando Tech, from Orlando, from the Orlando IoT group, from the universities, University Central Florida, from Valencia, and many more. So it's going to be a great event. And we have some amazing technologies to play with. We have Vidyo, who for the first time will be joining us at Tadhack. So really excited to welcome the Vidyo guys here to explain their technology. And in Orlando, in a couple of weeks, there will be Phil and Ben. So I'll hand over. Ben, Phil, please let us know about your platform.
All right, thanks, Alan. Everyone, my name is Ben Pinkerton. I'm Director of Product Marketing at Vidyo, and I'm responsible for Vidyo.io and from a marketing perspective. And Phil, can you introduce yourself?
Sure, yeah. My name is Philip Futternick, and I'm a Senior Software Engineer at Vidyo, and I specialize in Vidyo.io development and API support.
All right, thanks, Phil. And we're super excited to be part of Tadhack this year. So without further ado, we're going to take you through the Vidyo.io platform and hopefully spark some ideas and creativity for you and how you might incorporate this technology into your own hack. So what we have planned is to give you a basic overview of Vidyo.io and what it is, so you can get a sense for how it can be used. Then we'll take you through some available resources that you can look to help you in your own hack if you choose to use Vidyo.io. And then I'm going to hand it over to Phil, and he's going to take you through a couple of how-tos and some guidance on token generation. And then at the end, if we have any questions, we can address those. So what is Vidyo.io? So Vidyo.io is actually a communication platform as a service, but unlike other CPaaS platforms you may be familiar with, at Vidyo, we've taken a very specific view of supporting video and multi-party video chat specifically. So we don't do a lot of the other things like SMS or voice telephony. What we've done is focused solely on multi-party video chat, and with a focus on trying to make a very reliable experience for anyone using our technology. So you can use our technology in a variety of different applications. So just some examples of how other people have used video APIs in their technology. There's telepsychiatry apps where people have built apps where patients can talk to their therapist from the comfort of their own home using our technology, all embedded right into the telepsychiatry platform. There's also claims adjustment. So if you have an insurance claim or a problem that you need to file a claim for, you can actually do that remotely using a mobile device and talking to your insurance adjuster, directly from your mobile device. Or retail banking, being able to speak with your banker face-to-face right from your mobile device or their website. Or things like peer learning, where you have a kind of multi-party video communications where you're bringing people together that have common interests to learn from each other and share ideas. These are just a sampling of different types of applications that have used our technology. So you might be asking, why is video unique? What makes our technology that much different than maybe some of the other platforms that are out there? And really it has to do with the core video engine that we've developed. We have a very sophisticated video routing core that provides a very high quality of experience, but it does this with a very low latency so that when users are participating in a multi-party conversation, it's a much more natural experience. It's a conversational video, for example, without sort of that high latency you might have experienced with other platforms. But we have another kind of capability in that we dynamically adapt the video continuously throughout the call. So we can adjust frame rate and resolution, and we do that automatically based upon each endpoint's each endpoint's capability. So we look at their CPU, their available CPU, we look at the resolution that they have in the app to render the video, and we look at the available bandwidth. And based upon those parameters, we customize a stream specifically for that device. And so what that results in is a very optimized experience. So no matter how you're connecting, whether you're connecting from a mobile device, which has a wireless connection, which is inherently unstable, we can dynamically adapt and adjust to those mobile networks to provide a high quality of experience. But we also provide a pretty broad support from an endpoint perspective. So when you're developing your app, if you want to have support across mobile devices and browsers and native desktop apps, we support that as well. And one of the things that we've done is we've put a pretty strong emphasis on keeping our APIs very consistent across the various platforms that we support. So when you develop that first app, whether it's on iOS or Android, for example, you learn the behavior of the API, you learn the way it's organized, the way it operates, which makes it very, very easy to migrate to iOS and to Mac OS and Windows and then in the browser as well. So it's a very consistent experience so that you don't have to relearn a new API for each platform. And that helps to kind of reduce the time to market and the development effort involved in moving from one platform to the next. So one way to think about Vidyo.io is if you're familiar with like a content delivery network topology, it's like that only for real-time interactive multi-party communications. So we're providing everything from the SDK down. We provide the infrastructure in the cloud, we're providing the geolocation and routing, the firewall traversal mechanisms. Basically, as a developer, the only thing you really have to worry about is the experience that you want to present to your user. How do you want the video to appear in your application? You can customize your layout, determine how you want that layout to appear in your application, but then we take care of all of the hard stuff, all of the video call negotiation and setup, all of the routing, all of the multi-party media stream management. Everything is handled by the Vidyo.io service. So when you're ready to get started, it's super easy. We've put a lot of work in trying to make this as easy as possible. You basically go to the Vidyo.io website, sign up for an account, and you have access to all of our online documentation. We also have sample apps for all the different platforms, the video connector app for each platform that we support. So you can grab that and immediately start using it. You can also look at the source, and if you want to make changes or see how it's structured, that's really, really easy to do. And then we provide a usage dashboard as well, so you can see how many minutes you're using on the service and so forth. And whenever you sign up for Vidyo.io, your account comes with 4,000 minutes ready to go. And this is enough minutes for you to really get started building your app and testing it out and prototyping and making sure everything works properly for you. But specifically for Tadhack, we wanted to provide you guys with a little extra. So whenever you sign up, if you log into your account and go to the payments page, you'll see a little field to redeem a promo code. If you enter this Tadhack Mini 17 promo code into that page, that'll give you an additional 5,000 minutes into your account so that you can really take your hack to the next level, if you will. And it is possible to try out Vidyo.io without writing a single line of code. We have, once you log into your account, you'll see a demo app that's available in the main navigation of the site. And you can go there and try it out directly before you even write any code, just to see what's the experience like, how does it operate, and so forth. So it's a really nice resource just for testing and trying it out before you jump in and get started. So resources that are available, of course, we have the documentation that's on the developer.vidyo.io site. If you do have any questions through your hack, you can email us at support@vidyo.io. And of course, we'll be on site at Tadhack in Orlando as well. So, we'll be there. So feel free to walk over by the table and tap us on the shoulder, and we'll happily answer your questions there. And I also wanted to point you to our GitHub page. We also have a number of sample apps that are there. So those might help spark some ideas for how you might want to incorporate some of those into your own hack. And again, just a reminder on that promo code for the free minutes, Tadhack Mini 17. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Phil. So Phil, take it away.
Thanks, Ben. Yeah, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the authentication required to use our service. So I'm going to do a little token generation walkthrough and try to give you guys an idea of how you would authenticate entry into our cloud. So when you sign up for Vidyo.io, you will be given an API key and an application ID. And those two values, the key and the ID, are going to be displayed on the Vidyo.io dashboard. So that is something that's done one time. You get this, the key and the ID for your application. And now the question is, how are those values used? So those values are going to be used each time each endpoint connects to the service. So when you do that, you have to generate a token. So when you generate a token, you're going to use a username, which has to be unique for each endpoint, the application ID, and then you have to specify a short expiration time. Now those three values are then signed by the API key. So then when the endpoint connects to the Vidyo.io cloud, it's going to pass as arguments a token, the host name that you're going to be connecting to, which is our production server, which is prod.vidyo.io, and a resource ID, which is essentially the room ID that you want to connect to. And then the last parameter is your display name that all other users in the call are going to see you as. Now that display name is completely independent of the username that was used in token generation. Okay. So the question is, why do we want to generate a token? It's very important to generate it on the server side of the application because the API key is something, it's essentially a password, and transmitting the password rather than transmitting the password over the internet is pretty much bad practice because it could easily be stolen. So instead, we want to create short-lived tokens which are created per login for temporary access. Now, token generation is a very lightweight procedure, and it can be done in just a few lines of code. And if for some reason your security is not a concern of your application, the key, of course, could be embedded into the endpoint, but it's really highly discouraged. A few tidbits about token generation is the username field, which is used in the token generator. It should be unique for each endpoint. So, and then each endpoint should have a unique token. So those two things kind of go hand in hand. So if you use a unique username, the token will be unique. So each endpoint that is connecting to a call should have a unique username and token. And the username that is generated should not have any special characters, ampersands, number signs, dollar signs, etc. And it shouldn't have any spaces. And lastly, if you have a web application and the token is embedded into the URL, obviously it's got to be URL encoded, and vice versa. If you're going to be using it inside of code, it should not be URL encoded. So now I'm just going to go through a little demo of how you would generate a token and how it could be used to connect in our sample application. So I'm going to share my monitor here. So when going to the Vidyo.io page, if you go to the dashboard, you're going to see an application ID and a developer key. Again, that's something that's created one time when you create your Vidyo.io account. So those two values are going to be used in the token generation. So to get a sample token generator, you could get one in our documentation under the developer section of this website. So if you go to the developer section and then key concepts and then tokens, it'll explain a little bit about how tokens are generated and why they are generated, how they're used. And then at the end of this little explanation, there's going to be sample token generator scripts. So I'm going to download the Python token generator here. So this is essentially how it's used here. You call generateToken.py, you pass a key, you pass your application ID, a username, and an expiration time. So I downloaded it. So here it is. So I'm going to run the script. Again, now I want to use my key, right? So I'm going to go back here, go to my dashboard. And then the next field, I could pass my app ID. Next, I want to pass a username. And remember, the username has to be unique for each endpoint. So let's call this one user1. And then the last field is an expiration time. So we want to say when this token expires. So you could say expires in seconds, and we'll say 1,000 seconds. So now a token has been generated. And in order to demonstrate how it's used, I'm going to generate 2 tokens for 2 users to connect to the same room. So I'll do that one more time, but I'll change the username for the second token to be user2. So now, as you can see, we have 2 tokens. And now I have 2 browsers. I have browsers set up here, which I will connect. I'll connect each one to the same room using those 2 tokens that were just generated. So we have our sample app, videoconnector.html. We have, which is downloadable from the site, which Ben mentioned earlier. And we have it hosted at static.vidyo.io. So I'm just going to bring those up in the 2 browsers. And I already downloaded the plugin. So now I'm going to join this app with the plugin. Here on Safari, and here on Firefox. Now the host, which is our production server, has already been populated in both. Now each one needs a token, so let me copy the token here and enter it into the token field. And let me copy this other token from here, copy it into this token field. We'll call this one, the display name here, guest Firefox, and we'll connect the resource ID is the room that we want to connect to, and we'll call that, stick with the default, which is demo room, and we'll just change this display name to guest Safari. I'm going to just mute the microphones to avoid any echo, and then I'm going to connect. So here I've connected in my Firefox session. And now here I'm going to connect in the Safari session. And as you can see, both browsers, the sessions in each browser have connected to the same room, and both users are visible. So that's it. I'm just going to disconnect from each room. And that is concludes a demo of how the tokens are generated and how they would be used in our sample application.
All right.
And back to you.
Thanks, Phil.
Yeah.
So Phil, just so I'm clear, because I have a question. The sample apps you're using here, those are the video connector apps, correctly? Those are the ones we provide on the site.
Yes, exactly. Those come in the web package that are downloadable from the site.
We
have it hosted at our static Vidyo.io site as well, just for easy access.
You can get to that through the demo link in the main navigation.
Yeah, so if you go to from the site here, if you go to developers and downloads, you have package downloads for web, Windows, Android, Mac OS, and iOS. So this web app that I just showed came directly from the web package.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think with that, we're all done. Alan, did you want to add any parting words?
Well, first of all, thank you for the code for the extra 5,000 minutes. That will come in very handy. Excellent demos. It's great you got such coverage across all the different platforms, including iOS and Android. I think that makes it really easy to get a very quick and simple video app up and running. So really looking forward to seeing what gets created in the weekend after next at Tadhack Mini Orlando. Again, guys, thanks so much for the time, and I guess that's it.
Thanks, everyone.